Well, maybe not. Union time, not so fast, because while unions may be great at revving up their base, they're not so great at revving up jobs. Welcome, everyone. I'm Neil Cavuto. Well, after massive union protests in places like Michigan and Wisconsin, unions still have very little to show for it, not only in those states, but pretty much when it comes to factory jobs in any states. Well, union jobs are hurting. Non-union jobs, they're soaring. 700,000 more non-union factory jobs, to be exact, between 2010 and 2012, according to a report out today, versus 60,000 fewer union factory jobs over the identical period. The biggest factory job spikes coming in right-to-work states like South Carolina and Indiana. One factor could be salaries. Union workers cost more. Unionized manufacturing workers earn about $55 more each week on average than their non-union counterparts, and that doesn't include benefits. Sabrina Schaeffer says that is why all this is costing union jobs. Unions are too costly. Well, when this is spelled out and you see the numbers and you see the states making the gains, you do step back and start saying, all right, someone's got to start realizing the math here. What do you read out of it?
Well, you're right. I think we associate manufacturing with unions, but over the last number of years, manufacturing has actually been moving away from hiring union workers, and it's not really a surprise why. I mean, the fact is they do negotiate higher wages for their workers, but that comes with a cost to the whole economy, making it less dynamic, less easy for businesses to hire more workers, and at a time when we have 8% unemployment, that's not something that a lot of businesses can afford.
Now, a lot of those same union leaders say, yeah, well, you get what you pay for, and they're offering these cut-rate salaries to workers who might appreciate the job, but in the end aren't going to be very happy in those jobs. What do you say?
Well, I think that overall, people are beginning to see that unions are out to help union workers, but it's very often at the expense of non-union workers. And I think that's where we're getting into some trouble. In fact, the American public at large is overwhelmingly moving, public support is moving against unions. Gallup just found in a recent poll that 42% of Americans would like to see unions be less influential. And I think you're sort of hitting on the point. They feel as though there are these negotiations going on for union workers, but they come, again, at a cost for all workers, creating, less opportunity for all workers and for the economy at large.
What is the message to unions, period, though? I mean, you obviously could just say cheaper labor wins every time. Right. The unions come back and say, again, cheaper labor has a cost, too. What will be the lesson as more right-to-work states see these job pickups for unions?
Well, I think one of the lessons is that working is not black or white. It's not that you just want a job and you want the highest wages you can get. I'm thinking of women, for instance, who are very often looking for those sort of non-traditional work arrangements that give them more flexibility, and they may be willing to take lower wages as part of that compromise. But when you have these one-size-fits-all labor negotiations, you very often don't allow workers to have that kind of flexibility. So I think one thing that becomes clear is that workers are all different. We all have different needs and family structures, and unions are in a way very antiquated. They don't allow for that kind of modern flexibility that so many of us, men and women, need. All
right, Sabrina, thank you very much. Just for point of comparison here, we were focusing only on these factory jobs. We didn't even get into the private sector where it's even more disproportionately non-union over union gains. We focused just on those factory jobs. Now, to New York City, day two of a nasty school bus strike that has already left 152,000 kids stranded, including 54,000 handicapped students. Now, the union says it's fighting for job security, but for Fox Business Network's Melissa